So it's clear that part two, the only part, the final part of the Real Housewives of Atlanta reunion is all about Drew Sidora and Ralph Pittman.
Come out here and stand on your word and apologize, just like you did off camera. I was hoping you would actually come on here and do right by me, but you choose not to. You want to further embarrass me. I've had 3 years on this platform of embarrassment, and this is not because of the show, because we've been dealing with this since Chicago.
By now, you may have seen there have been multiple previews for part two of this reunion that have been released. Bravo, at this point, do we need to even watch the episode? Well, we have to talk about Sheree, Drew, and how someone dropped off these text messages between Drew and Ty Young at the Chateau Thelma. And we also have to talk about how much more trash
Courtney
really is. Welcome back to the Kempire channel, your number one source for pop culture news and music, entertainment, reality TV, and so much more. As always, be sure to like this video, subscribe to the channel, and hit that notification bell so you never miss out on breaking news when we go live or when we upload. So you know we will be watching this final part of the Real Housewives of Atlanta reunion together on TikTok on Sunday night. And we will be recapping it on Monday. However, these previews are too juicy for us not to at least start talking about now. Because by Sunday, Monday, I might forget some of what I want to say. So the first part of the Real Housewives of Atlanta reunion ended with Drew gathering Courtney for the things that she said on that hot mic moment. And I told you how disgusting that was, and I do not want to see Courtney for the rest of my days on this show because she is leaning in this part too. She's leaning in. She's like, I said it multiple times. I said it multiple times.
When you thought the cameras were watching what you were saying.
Meaning that she is okay with the things that she said in regards to JoJo's adoption, and Drew was just using Ralph for, so she could be in her gay lover relationship and using Ralph to pay the bills. And we're still saying, Tommy's paying what? Okay. It gets even worse. I didn't think it could get even worse. And I told you, I was really surprised. If you follow me on Twitter, I posted this. I was really surprised that none of these other housewives defended Drew in this moment when it came to that hot mic moment and Courtney bringing this whole situation up in regards to the adoption. However, we see in part two that Kenya and Sonia were the only ones to really step up and say, children are off limits. And they do this because Courtney decides in this moment when she's having this back and forth with Drew to say that you have single-handedly destroyed your children.
You have destroyed them single-handedly. Destroyed
We
your
are
own
done.
kids.
We are done.
Single-handedly.
We are done.
Everyone that's a parent on there should have said something, but anyone with some decency, but Marlo, I don't expect you to have any decency because based on what we've heard you say about Brooklyn. So I'm going to leave that alone because I don't expect much from Marlo at this point. But Sheree, at this point, you are a big disappointment. Guys, if you missed the video that I did on the fashion designer that dropped the timeline and the receipts about She by Someone Else, go check out that video. Because Sheree, you spent all this time putting She News together, all about Candy, it's giving obsessed. It's giving obsessed. That would have landed so much better, Sheree, if you made She News about the entire cast. Or at least the people that you have issues with. Oh, I guess Candy's the only person you have issues with? No, you have issues with Drew too. You could have made this a funny moment. And sidebar, do we know what was the shadiest receipt? Maybe we'll see it in part two. The shadiest receipt the reunion has ever seen. Was it the She News? It's not giving what you thought it was going to give, Sheree, especially when your truth is far worse than your parody of what Candy is doing. Just saying, you need to get your money up.
Can y'all believe this shit?
Y'all notice she said that to Marlo. And Marlo's like, oh, look at the jealous, bitter, chicks over there. And yeah, they need to get their money up. No, homegirl, you need to get your money up so you can pay that fashion designer. This is not about Sheree, but it is about Sheree. So we have that moment between Drew and Courtney gets even more disgusting in this reunion. And both Sonia and Kenya have to tell her children are off limits. Children are off limits. I thought that was even though people still do it. People still do it on this show. But what Courtney has said, and I know she didn't specifically talk about JoJo, but you did. You brought up his adoption, something that's sensitive to him. And that he could end up seeing it. And now he's like, oh, is this the reason why I'm not adopted? And then you're telling Drew that she single-handedly destroyed her children? Like that, you've taken this way too far. You are too desperate for this canned peach. If you want a canned peach, borrow Marlowe's. But that's not the only thing that plays out in this. There are multiple previews that have been released. Head on over to our friends over at OMFG Reality TV on Twitter so you can see some of the previews. We also see this back and forth between Drew and Ralph. I won't get into it because I know we're going to get into it later. But I don't trust Drew 100%, but I definitely don't trust Ralph, and I don't think Ralph is innocent. Do I think that both of these people may have cheated in their relationship? Yes, but do I think that Ralph may have done it? I feel like Ralph has been cheating on us by telling us that he's a hardworking man and that he has multiple jobs.
Tommy.
Anyways, so the text messages. You saw the preview for the text messages. Well, now we get to see a first look at how this all came about. So apparently, Andy already knew something because he looked over at Sheree and Marl like, do you guys know something? And Mumble said that I don't want to get in it. I don't want to get in it. Hold on.
I don't want to get in it.
Girl, yeah, but you don't need to get in it. You need to sit right there and be quiet. Sheree, you should have done the same because I don't understand because at the end of the day, we already know Sheree is desperate. She will do anything to keep her rotten peach at this point, because she's been on here a very long time. Her rotten peach. The fact that you would say that someone dropped these screenshots of a personal, I don't know if it's DMs, text messages between Drew and Ty. Someone dropped it off. Sheree, you don't have cameras? She says she has no idea. Someone dropped it off. She brought these receipts to the reunion. Look, we don't get to see because Andy did not read, which, I can appreciate. He did not read the text messages because we don't know if it's real or not. Drew did not look at the text messages, but Candy and Kenya looked. Candy was very convinced. She was like, do you and I text like this? These are, because Kenya was like, this doesn't look very incriminating. But Candy was like, do you and I talk like this? Blah, 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 blah. Look, we can't decide whether or not these are incriminating texts. We can't even decide whether or not they're real. But this whole conversation about Drew having a girl crush, you keep saying girl crush. Here's the thing. If it's a crush, doesn't mean that you've actually gone and done anything with it. I have plenty of crushes on people. Well, not really. But you know what I mean? Like, you know you have crushes. Have you slept with your crushes? And apparently she was telling people and said, Ty Young's a crush. And then they decided to bring Ty Young to the set. Was this a Candy coat? No, look, come on, Candy, come on. I couldn't help myself. I couldn't help myself. Because it's like, wait a minute, why'd y'all bring Ty? Ty's not even in the movie. Y'all's trying to set up Drew? No. Look, Drew, the humana that you were given makes me believe that something may have happened. At the end of the day, I think a lot of people are sick and tired on Real Housewives of Atlanta. This whole outing of people or shaming people for possibly hooking up with the same sex. It's starting to feel a little cringy with them pressing her about this girl crush. If she said that I had a girl crush and that she's not really into women, let that be that. Let that be that, because at this point, the only person that really should talk about this should be Ralph, because he's saying, according to Courtney, that he decided to get this divorce to file for this divorce because he found out about the Ty Young affair. So Drew, in another scene, when she's talking to Ralph, shows a text message, one of the text messages, because she says this in her divorce filing, that multiple women over the years, she says, dates back to when they were living in Chicago, have reached out to her saying that your husband is trying to cheat with me. or your husband and I have hooked up. I believe Drew. Do I believe Drew has cheated on Ralph? Well, maybe recently. Look, maybe recently. And I know what you guys have been saying. Good for her. Well, I don't know about all that. I like clean slate, divorce, and then go live your life. Look, Sheree, you need to mind your own business. Mind your business, especially because you know that this is a real legal situation. But like I said before, Sheree is desperate to stay on the show. I believe a reboot is actually going to happen. And a reboot, guys, please understand, a reboot doesn't mean it's going to look like RHONY. A reboot could mean 3 or 4 people are gone and they're only going to bring back certain people. Who do you want them to bring back? Let's continue this conversation in the comment section. I want to know your thoughts on the preview for this Sunday's final part, the finale of season 15 of The Real Housewives of Atlanta. I want to know, what do you believe? What do you see? What do you want? Let's continue this conversation there. As always, be sure to like this video, subscribe to the channel, and hit that notification bell so you never miss out on breaking news when we go live or when we upload. Thanks for watching.
Ooh, you bring the lighter.